What's going on, YouTube? We are live once again. Welcome back to the den. Let's get right into it. It is Friday night. How y'all feeling? I hope y'all are all right tonight. I hope y'all are all right. I'm a little bit sick. I'm a little bit stuffy, so you have to bear with me. I apologize. So let's just get right into it. What's going on? What's going on, people? How y'all doing tonight? How are y'all doing tonight? I appreciate y'all for coming through. I appreciate you guys very much so. It's been a few days. It's been a few days since I've been on one of these lives, but I'm trying to figure out, the hashtag content strategy, how I want to actually put this stuff out, and I'm just getting into the groove of, working with the shorts and working with my pre-records and of course working with these lives. So anytime you guys come through, I appreciate it. I'm a little bit under the weather right now. I'm a little bit under the weather. Put this off here so you can see me. I'm a little bit under the weather. I don't know if I got a little head cold or what's going on, but it wasn't bad enough for me not to come on here tonight. So I hope you guys are doing all right. I hope you guys are doing well. I'm doing fine. I'm doing fine. Besides the rain, if you've been paying attention to the channel, you've seen that I have actually built another raised garden bed. So I had some plans on actually starting that garden, earlier in the week, but then it started raining every day, and then I got sick, and then how it is. Whenever you want to be productive, sometimes these things happen. So yes, if you've been paying attention to the channel, if you've been rocking with me for a while, you know that my last live, or not last live, but my last short was actually look at the hashtag and you actually see productivity or productive. So that's what we're going into the end of April and the beginning of May. All through May, we're going to be focusing in on productivity, and are you productive? There's a lot of content creators in the space, some liked and some not liked so much, and if regardless of who they are, the people that are at the forefront, the people that are getting the most attention, the people that are doing big things, regardless if you like them or you hate them, you can't deny their productivity. So that's what I want to talk about for the men and for the women that can get some of these gems. We're going to be talking about productivity on and off. So it won't be nothing you want to miss. So hopefully you guys stick with me. So you guys want to know who these lovely American people are down here at the bottom of the screen? These are the Whitakers. And we're going to be talking a little bit about the Whitakers, and then it's going to tie into what I'm talking about tonight. But it'll be in a minute. We're going to be in a minute. Yeah, these lovely people, the Whitakers, and they are from Virginia, and turns out they were an inbred family. And I actually came upon these people, I believe, earlier last year. There were a couple of documentaries that I watched, and I believe I seen bits and pieces of this one, but I I wasn't quite sure, but I've seen these people, and they were kind of interesting. So if you haven't seen the Whitakers and what they are all about, I suggest you go see who they are. But we're gonna dive into it, and we're gonna talk about it a little bit, and it's gonna go all tie into us and productivity and how it all came into my mind. Sometimes you had these things that come into your mind and you can't get them out. You have these things to where they just pop up, golden moments. You don't always have these moments to capitalize on things that pop up into your brain like this, but when they do, you need to seize those moments. Be productive. Don't sit on it, and actually, make something come out of it, make something come to fruition. Because if you sleep on these moments, if you do not capitalize on them, you will lose them. And it all goes back to productivity. So sometimes these things come in your dreams. Make sure that you're ready for them. Make sure you got a pen and a pad. to jot down those, those dreams, those memories, or anything that kind of gets you into a creative spark, or you have just a creative moment, make sure you capitalize on it. So in the inbred state of mind, that's why I wanted to make that the topic of today's or tonight's discussion, the inbred frame of mind. And how I am. I'm tough on the brothers and the sisters. I'm tough, and one of the staples of my channel was to be the person to expose the ratchetness, to expose the idiotic behavior that happens in our community. Because if if a white person can't talk about it, and another Asian person isn't supposed to talk about it, who is supposed to talk about the things that go on in the community? And I said it might as well be me, because I am officially a young OG, and I can do that. I can do that. I can call you out. So that's what I wanted to do. But ever so often, you get these insights into things in America that you really don't get to see often. A lot of these places we're not able to go into, without being ran out. That's one thing we joke about, with people that are not of the Afrocentric community. They really don't understand that we're allowed to see these things or be in these places, because a lot of these people's minds and thought patterns are in the past. So I'm done babbling. Let's get into the video. Let's get into what I seen. Have a little fun in here, hopefully. All right, make sure I can bring this up for you guys. Just stop and let you guys see what I'm reading. There's no sound right now on purpose, but it's like it said right here. This was all by mistake, I believe. This filmmaker trying to see the Whitakers, but it gets very interesting because I don't really want to tell it. So let's just keep going. See, they were gonna shoot at them. They didn't even want the film crew looking at them. Fair use, by the way. Fair use. That's Ray in the red shirt.
So what are your names?
Ray, Ray, Timmy.
I'm sorry. Who's this?
His name's Ray.
Ray. I remember Ray. I photographed you, Ray. Do you remember? Years ago. And your name is?
Lorraine.
Lorraine. And Timmy.
Yeah.
Now you guys grew up here in Odd, West Virginia. How many years have you lived here?
All her life. All my life.
You're you guys, I mean, did you go to school? You did? Some of your brothers and sisters probably didn't go to school, or how much schooling did they get?
They didn't wish to go long, but he graduated.
You graduated from what?
Well, I was from high school.
You went to high school, Timmy?
Yeah, he went to high school all in bed. Yeah.
No, you guys grew up here in Ray. I remember Ray. I photographed you, Ray, in Odd, West Virginia. How many years have you lived here?
Oh, sorry about that. Let me see where I was at. Yeah.
They didn't wish to go long, but he graduated.
You graduated from what?
We were from high school.
Now, how did the Timmy over there in the corner, little bald headed Timmy, or big bald headed Timmy? How did Timmy graduate? How did Timmy graduate? He's clearly has a mental impairment. All of them really do, because they're all really inbred. They don't really tell how about their parents, but they're all inbred. But yet they've been going to school in Virginia, and he's graduated. They pushed him on. But let's keep going.
You went to high school, Timmy?
Yeah, he went to high school on back.
And how about you, Lorraine?
No, she didn't went to school.
She didn't. And
No, they didn't went to school.
come on out.
See, Ray just grunts. I don't know if he's ever been able to talk. So he's like he's pretty much just mentally stunted. So he does these barks. That's all he does is these barks.
Come here, Ray.
Ray, tell me about your family.
Look at it in there. See, y'all see how filthy it is in there?
So, Ray.
Examples that God supplies our physical, financial needs through people. And there could be multiple things happening, but don't doubt that God has done it. You start praising Him that it's a done deal, and then you just stand there. Sometimes the
How do I
scripture
turn that off?
reveals that you just have to stand. It says over in Ephesians chapter 6 that you take unto you the whole armor of God, having done all things.
How do I turn it? You know how to turn it down?
And there are times that you just have to take the helmet.
So this is a picture of the guys right there. So apparently, I guess incest is completely illegal in Virginia, but I believe they said there are some counties that will still allow first cousins to marry each other.
Of salvation, the breastplate, righteousness, of the Spirit, the Word of God, and you just stand and you have to just stand there until you see a manifestation. Now, I believe that there's things that we can do to speed.
The sound.
I'm just getting started and I need to save money.
See no damn
A-File
ad.
gave me the best service for the best price.
As a freelancer,
Sandwich. So you grew up here in Odd, West Virginia, your whole life. And your family, you lost your brother since I was here last.
Come on, Ray. Get out on the porch.
Tell me about your brother.
Get out on the porch.
So obviously Ray understands what they're talking about. They can understand Ray, and Ray can understand them. Let me see.
But what you remember of your parents? Can you tell me anything? Lorraine, what can you remember of your family?
Yo, Lorraine just be off in space. She pops in and out. She answers every once in a while, but for the most part, she don't say nothing. She doesn't say anything. And I think it's one of their brothers is buried right across the street in the dirt.
Hey,
Yo, I couldn't even know, when I first watched it, I was amazed that people really like this, that here in America, that they had people like this. All we know is what we know. If you stay in the hood, all you know is the hood, and when you're in the hood, you often looked down upon and ridiculed because of the situations that you're in. And it's the same for them. They live in their small part of America, the little hole that they live in, and they don't know anything. They don't know any better. They're inbred. Their minds are stunted. They don't know up from down or left from right. They just live from day to day. I believe when I did my research, like on $10,000 a year between like the 5 or 6 of them. So I tell people all the time, you people don't like each other, or people don't want to have anything to do with each other because of their differences. But if you let your guard down and really think about it, the people that feel like they're the most different or the most opposite from each other are usually the people that have the most things in common. And what do I say about in all, what is this are these people? What do the Whitakers have to do, with productivity? Like I said at the beginning, I say this because I have lived in the hood right myself. We grow up, it wasn't completely like the ghetto or anything, but I was a part of the quote unquote hood. When you grow up, you begin to see other things and begin to go places, travel. Only then do you begin to understand that you were in a situation, or you were in a place that was either underprivileged, and you guys just made do. You made sure that you got by. You had what you needed, but sometimes you got what you wanted, depending on if your parents both worked. My parents both worked. My parents did both work. My mother was a seamstress and my father was a supervisor at a rock quarry and in different places until he got sick himself. So I did get some of the things that people didn't get, but all in all, we were still, they were working, we were in the working class that will now turn into the hood, and then when I left the house myself, I actually, ended up staying in public housing for a year or two or so, and then worked myself out of public housing, and then, got into the position, the job that I have, or working for the company that I'm at, and building myself up and working up that ladder at my place of employment. So I'm no stranger to doing things. I'm no stranger to having to or for having to work or wanting to work and getting myself digging it myself out of situations. That is what the public housing and assistance is for. It's for you to build yourself up. It's for you not to stay there into perpetuity, but it's for you to have a stepping stone into the next phase of life. But a lot of times people get stuck in those situations to where they either can't get out, or are afraid to get out, or just don't know any better, or don't know up from down or left from right, just like the Whitakers, to be able to move out of that situation they are in. And I say that because it's the truth. With the Whitakers, you look at the Whitakers, they have not because they ask not, and they ask not because they know not. That is the situation that a lot of people in the hood, in the community, in the black community, or in the underprivileged communities, because it's not just black people, it's white people too. It's all races that come in and then get into that situation to where government assistance and other things like that the actual government puts in place for them to use begin to be a crutch or a pacifier, and it begins to be a lifestyle to where you don't want to get out of, because you begin to get scared of the unknown. What happens when you are away from big daddy government and you don't have them to hold your hand or have them to give you a leg up? What happens when you're out there on your own and you have to rely on your own, your blood, sweat, and tears to get you from point A to point B, to excel you. And this is what often happens. That's what happens. It begins to get scary. Why not? It's just like being a child getting ready to graduate and you don't want to leave your parents' home. Or you graduate college, whatever you depend on doing. But then it comes a time where that good thing comes to an end and it's time for you to leave the nest. What happens? Oftentimes, a lot of us get scared. We don't want to go. We don't want to be out, and because the fear of unknown. And that's what happens. That is what is going on in the current state, excuse me, of which we live in. And it also affects the productivity. If you depending on where you are in that point of life, it impacts your productivity. Like I said before at the beginning of the live stream, you have people like no matter if you like them or hate them. You got Kevin Samuels, you got Tommy Sotomayor, you got MTR, you got Alpha Male Strategies, you got everybody out there. And the one thing they all got in common, no matter the differences and how they look, the messages that they say, they are all productive men. They are all productive. They couldn't be productive if they couldn't be at the place they were now if they were not productive. They were not productive males. They would not be in the positions they are. And it always being productive always doesn't come with a guarantee that you're going to win that race. Are you going to complete your goals in the time and the manner in which you want to complete your goals? Or it's not a comfort, or it isn't a crutch involved with it to stop you from stumbling or falling on the way during your course in life. You have not because you ask not, and you ask not because you know not sometimes. But in the age of information, in the age of the internet, can you really make that excuse and say that I didn't know? I have not because I asked not, and I asked not because I know not. Can I really use that as an excuse not to do anything anymore? Because we are in the information age. Everything is at our fingertips. And often we do not move, or we do not jump on such opportunities, or we do not burst through doors that are cracked or are halfway hanging off the hinge, because we're afraid of what failing looks like. We're afraid to put ourselves in positions to where we have to be held accountable if something doesn't get created, or if something doesn't get completed to task. We don't want to be held responsible. I say that also with some of my previous live streams. Go watch my live streams, especially does the manosphere need a hero? Because I said it too often. And here in the United States, we have this thing called the hero syndrome, to where we want to wait on somebody else to come pave the way for us, come pave the street, so I won't have to walk in the dirt, so I won't have to feel the pebbles or the rocks beneath my feet, so I can have a comfortable trip. But is that real? Is that realistic? Or what often happens is, instead of taking that first step onto that bumpy unpaved road, we sit back, and we stay at that starting line where everybody else out there in the world, in the great land that we call America, is walking on that bumpy road. Yes, they might have somebody, pulling at their belt, or they might have somebody to give them a little bit a direction on what path on this road is not as bumpy. Yes, that happens. I'm not so deluded or self-absorbed to know that certain people in this country do not have the same path, or do not have the same assistance. I get that. But what can we do about it? Right? What can we do about it? We either going to sit back and complain and tell people that life isn't fair when they know it isn't fair, or we just go out there, run out, get a scrape on our feet on that bumpy road, and then might not make it at the same time as that person. I might not make it at the same pace. I might not make it with the same amount of scars that man has on his feet, but nevertheless, I make it. That is the issue that is going on here in America. Yes, it's a bad deal. Yes, some of us got bad starts. Some of us had bad hands when we got dealt the cards of life. But how much of that needs and will be an excuse in our lives not to do something, or not to go for as high as you can go, ascend to the places that you can ascend to? How many of us are going to use that as an excuse not to move? How many of us going to make that excuse not to travel that road because it's a little bumpy? You know, I heard a content creator talk today about excelling and wanting the best in life, and going for the best, and why settle for mediocrity? Why not go and be the best person that you can be? And they got some pushback in it, and I understand the pushback that he got in it, because like some of the people said in the actual live stream, every place, or every slot isn't made for everybody, because there's a limited amount of slots. So that is the truth. That is the meat and potatoes of the situation. Everybody won't have a slot. Some people will be there needs to be production people in the world, because if there wasn't production of people in the world, the people that are the CEOs of these, say, electronic companies, they won't have the producers or the makers of those things to be able to sell them. So of course we know there needs to be those workers, but who's to say that you or me or that lady across the street needs to be that worker? You know, you shouldn't stay and say, well, I am, or think so low of yourself and think that I can't be anything but somebody's assembler. Not talking down about the actual workers in the world or in the United States, but because they are needed and appreciated. But you shouldn't want anybody to point at you. You wouldn't let them point at you, single you out, and say you're not good enough for anything but a person that puts something together. But this place, although it is the one of the, if not the greatest, one of the greatest countries on the planet, free speech, I wouldn't be able to say the things that I'm saying right now. I wouldn't be able to do the things I'm doing right now outside of United States of America. Let's just get right to it. How many of us can go over to Afghanistan or any other country that doesn't allow China or any communist country out there to be able to say what you want to say without somebody kicking your door in? So we got to think about that for a minute. We got to think about it just for a minute, to think about how blessed we are to sit here with thousands of dollars worth of equipment to put on independent shows, to get your thoughts, your point of view, your logic, your intellectual property out there on Al Gore's internet. So I do understand that there's not a slot for everybody. And why would you want to sit back and be so self-doubting and be so I'll say self-doubting and being in a place of low self-esteem, not to push yourself forward, not to go for the things that you want in life? And I say you should, but you also need to know who you are. You also need to know what you are. What is your because I believe God has he has a way of making everybody, or putting gifts into everybody. So everybody can't just say, well, I have a pipe dream to be a doctor, like they are on Grey's Anatomy. No, it's not going to work. It's not for everybody to be a doctor, and especially you might have the brain to be a doctor, but do you have the love to be a doctor? Do you have the passion? Do you have the compassionate nature to want to save a life? Or do you just feel like it's a 9-to-5 job? Because what happens if you don't love a job that's important as a doctor, you begin to put people's lives in danger because you really don't feel, you feel indifferent. So you have to look at it on all facets of life. in that regard. You have to know who you are. You have to know where you are in life and begin to know your purpose. That's why you need to know your purpose early, because if you know your purpose early, you won't spend time going to college and getting useless degrees that you will never use, that you will never, ever use, and then end up going into a field that you never had any want or inclination that you even wanted to be in, just so you can have money to pay back this debt that you wasted 4 to 6 years on. That is the very definition of slavery. That is the very definition of slavery. Putting in your time, putting in your hard-earned, hard-earned blood, sweat, and tears, like I said earlier, to pay back somebody some money for a degree that you did not want. Move that right there. That's what it is. You have to pay attention. You have to know who you are. You can't sit here and waste this time because the goalpost has been moved. College wasn't made for everybody. A six person household. It wasn't made for all 6 of those people to go to college. Because what happens? If you know business, because that's what my degree is in. If you know business, it's a thing called supply and demand. If I have the market is flooded with bachelor's degrees, what happens to the value of that bachelor's degree? That bachelor's degree is vastly devalued, and what happens? The goalpost gets moved, and then now they want a master's degree in the place of all of those doctor's degrees, so we can be able to sift the people out that we really want, because it's too many bachelor's degrees. There's too many good people over here. I don't know how to hire him or her because they all have the same bachelor's degree. So what we'll make a requirement to have a master's degree. And what happens after that? We have all these master's degrees, and then, okay, we need a doctorate degree. You see where this is going? So you have to know yourself. It might not be for you to go to a 4-year college. It might be for you to go to a trade school. It's a reason why they moved all of those trade schools out of the inner cities, because they know. I'm a paraphrase Umar Johnson here. Even though he has a bunch of stuff that I don't agree with, I always agree with that a man in America needs to know at least 2 trades, because yes, your sociology majors and your psychology majors and all of these different things like that look good on paper and sound good, and all power to you. Congratulations for going out there and completing something that a lot of people didn't do. But in the end of the day, when the shit hits the fan, like it always does, are you going to be able to build a house? Are you going to be able to make money with that bachelor's degree in sociology? Are you going to be able to do anything with that bachelor's degree in what's another one? Political science or criminal justice? Are you going to be able to do anything with those degrees? Or are you going to be stuck trying to figure out how to feed your family? See, a lot of people think you're attacking their degrees and devaluing them, and we're not devaluing. People are not devaluing them. Just realists like I am, a person like I am, understands that, knows that those things aren't, at the end of the day, those things won't bring you food, like I say, when the shit hits the fan, because it will. You should be able to go out and know how to change some brakes. You need to know how to use your hands in some shape, form, or fashion. Even if you're not doing it on a consistent basis, even if you're not doing it regularly, you need to know how to go out in the garage, pick up your tool belt, go out there and walk down the street. And if somebody needs their electricity or their electrical, grid in their homes rewired, you should be able to know how to do that, because that's thousands of dollars. And if you have your degree or your trade in there, in that, great. But we had barter systems back in the day. We did what we had to do to get by. You should know how to paint. You should know how to lay tile. You should know how to frame, because there's a shortage of framers. The framers that actually built the homes, or the actual skeleton of a home. There's a lack of people that are framers. And there's nothing better than knowing that, yes, I have this degree that I did in business, but I can go and strap that stuff on, and then I can go and learn, know how to operate this lawnmower, or know how to operate this die grinder, or this chisel machine, and I know how to operate this jackhammer, and I can make sure that my people that are fed in my household, and then if something happens, I can move around. I can train my children to do that. It needs to be gone are the days that we need to really stop telling our children to just go to college to get degrees so they can be in suits and they can look down on the next person over in the corner or over on the other side of town. We are at the point in society that those days should have died back in the 80s and 90s. We are in the point of society where we can't take those risks of doing that anymore. You need to learn your children's gift early. If you have children, if your child has the gift of geographical design, you need to teach them how to be an architect. Teach her how to be an architect. Teach her how to use her hands as well, because you never know what'll happen out there. If you have daughters, they need to know some of these things too. And it might not be for them to actually get down and be rough and tough and dirty, but they still need to know how this stuff works. See, these are the things they're not teaching our people in school anymore, no matter where you come from. They'll teach you the Pythagorean theorem, but they won't teach you the money management. They won't teach you how to use stocks and bonds or leverage stocks and bonds to your favor. Schools, and shout out all the teachers too, because I don't know how you do it, because I won't. I won't. Shout out to all the teachers. If you're a teacher out there, God bless you. I don't know how you do it, but I appreciate you, and I'm sure a lot of us, the other people, appreciate you. But you guys have to know. You guys have to realize that the schools in large aren't teaching them these things. Why? Because we need workers. America needs workers. America wants workers. They want people to get, in much debt as they can to keep them working, to keep people working. That, they don't want to teach you these things that I'm talking about. They don't want to teach you how to be self-sufficient and well-rounded all together. They want you to go get degrees that you really don't need, and so to continue to put money into the economy. Because what happens when you start getting free thinking, logical people in communities, in society? They start to be self-sufficient. They start to not want or need to rely on outside money, outside information, and it starts to be more self-sustaining. But you have not because you ask not, and you ask not because you know not. But this is the new age. This is the information age, and just like I'm on here talking to you about these things, people need to swallow their pride, get out of their feelings, and get out of their emotions, and realize the stuff that people are talking about on the internet, outside this BS drama, outside of Will Smith and Jada, outside of all the actresses and entertainers, outside of Johnny Depp and what's going on with Amber Heard. You guys need to realize that none of that shit really matters. The only thing matters is that we know how to survive and know how to take care of each other and get it out of this bullshit mentality that if I get this degree, I'm better than you, or I get this degree and everything will be all right. We need to stop it. There's more to it than just getting the degree. How many of you out there know of people that have these degrees that are in some of the worst financial situations out there? How many people have their enough money to survive if they get laid off for 6 to 12 months? How many people did you know that have these things together? A lot of us don't, because what happens? We come from households that we don't have anything. We're not taught anything. We get these jobs that give us access to a little more money, and what do? We spend it all up because we didn't have it. And who am I, or who is this other person to tell me what I need to do with my money? That's ego. That's insane. We're not living in a time where we can continue to afford to do these things. We need to ask the questions, because if you ask not, if you do not, you ask not, you have not because you ask not, and you ask not because you know not. But I'm telling you here, so there's no more excuses for you people not to know what's going on. Make your kids well-rounded. Pour into your kids. You know, if you're one of the people that says and believes like I do too, that your parents are supposed to be the people that actually teach you and stop sending your kids to school to be raised. Your kids are in school to sit there, actually learn how to be productive little robots. You know, go home, go to work, go to school and sit down and do that work and go home. But the real learning, the real teaching starts at home. You don't, the teaching in school doesn't start at 7 and end at 4. That stuff continues to happen when they're at home. That means if you have to make extra curriculum for them or buy extra curriculum for them to catapult them into life every day, or whatever your schedule is, do that. Continue to feed in them. Let them know their gifts early. Let them know how to manage their money earlier. Give them a head start. Give them what they need because they didn't ask to be here. Guys, like I said, you have not because you ask not, and you ask not because you know not. But you guys cannot use the excuse of not knowing anymore. Not in 2022. It is what it is. That's why I said the Whitakers. The Whitakers in that thumbnail. The Whitakers right here. Let me get it out. These people right here. They have not because they know not. Or they have not because they ask not, and they ask not because they know not. Now, would you consider yourself to be an inbred person like the Whitakers here? I don't think most people in the United States can even say that they have the same level of ignorance or brain capacity of the people that you see on the screen right here. You cannot use that as an excuse. These people have an excuse, even though some of them were passed through college or high school, not college, but high school, like a lot of our people in the hood are too. You cannot say that you have the same excuse to not do the best you can out here. And I agree. Everything isn't for everybody. But you should strive to be the best at whatever you are doing. There shouldn't be a person in this place that is listening to these videos, because if you got the brain power to sit there and navigate your way through the internet, you have the brain power to do a lot of different things. Guys, man, I appreciate you being out here. Really do. I appreciate that back on here. I appreciate you coming out. I really do. I don't like to preach like this all the time, but sometimes, like I said, you can't let these things actually lose you, or you can't really let these things slip by, because you won't be able to sleep at night. And that's where I am. Yeah, like that. So guys, I appreciate you for coming out. Make sure you continue to stop by the channel. Make sure you like and subscribe to the channel. Make sure you look at my shorts. Make sure if you want any kind of content to be reacted on, or you have any things you want to talk about, make sure you let me know. Don't be a stranger. Because guys, without you guys watching, what's the point of me doing it? You know? So I appreciate you guys. Until next time, everybody, make sure you have a wonderful evening. Make sure you drink responsibly. And I'll see you tomorrow. I have a short coming tomorrow. So make sure you guys see that. Peace out, guys.